So in this video, I wanted to spend a few minutes talking about a new pen from Zebra called the Sarasa R. If you're familiar with Zebra's gel pens, you'll know of the Sarasa line. It's been really popular. There's a bunch of pens in it. It's been one of the better, I would say, gel pens over the past 5 or 6 years. You know, comparable with the Pentel Energel. The Sarasa just means it's a gel pen, and there's different models. The Sarasa Clip, the Sarasa Grand, what have you. The Sarasa R was released in a few weeks ago. I'd say maybe March 2021, maybe April, something like that. And what it is, it's another gel pen, so that's why it's a Sarasa. And I'm not sure that the R stands for anything, so let's not jump to any conclusions there. But what it is a more, I'm not sure how to put this, but it's a darker set of colors, or the dye in the ink is more concentrated. Basically, the colors should pop more than the previous colors in the Sarasa gel inks. And then the bodies have been slightly tweaked, which we'll talk about in a second. But basically, these are the new gel inks with brighter colors, darker colors, deeper colors, whatever word you want to describe that improved dye formula. So here's the pen. It's very, very similar to the previous pens in the line. For example, here is a Sarasa Clip, which is sort of the standard Zebra Sarasa pen, if you're looking at the kind of an entry level. So what do we see here at the Sarasa R? Fully plastic body, rubberized grip with these grip lines down it. Zebra does that a lot. All plastic at the front. Here we have that oversized clip with a sprung steel clip, spring inside of it. That's just a piece of bent metal. It's not like a spring per se, but it acts as a spring. We see it says obviously Sarasa R. These are sold, I believe, in 0.5 and 0.7 millimeters so far. I haven't seen them in 0.38. I guess Zebra actually uses a 0.4 or 1.0, nothing like that yet. See color coordinated little pill here. It doesn't do anything. It's not a hole. It's just printed on there. Color coordinated top button, which is nice. Nice click. We see those weird little indents here, and that has been there on previous pens. And same with this little grip thing. That's been there on a lot of the Zebras. Here we see the information. It is a Japanese pen, 0.5 millimeter, and they don't have the pricing. Oh, there you go. 100 Japanese yen. That comes to about $1.50, $1.80 pen in the US. Maybe a little cheaper once these are more widely available. Inside, we open it up. Again, all plastic, just standard Sarasa stuff. And then we see the Zebra 0.5 millimeter Japan refill. They don't seem to have any printing on here that says the name of the refill. Zebra usually uses, these are called the JF refills. So I don't know if these refills will continue to be called the JF refills and just the R inks are going to replace the old ones, or if the R is going to be a new line, sort of an upgrade line, and Zebra will continue previous lines like this. It's not really clear yet, but we'll figure it out soon enough. Let's just run through some of the other ones I bought just to get a good idea of the set. This is the 0.4 millimeter in addition to the 0.5. And then, so I was wrong before. It is sold in a 0.4. Maybe it's not sold in the 0.7. That's what it was. But this is the same. This is all black with that gloss black, just like the gloss white, but a different variation. And here is the white body, but in red. And it also sold in, this is a 0.5 too, 0.4 too. It's also sold in like, you know, the standard colors, blue, black. Maybe there's a green, purple, obviously the red. Standard stuff. I'm sure we'll see a lot of these coming, but for now it's a pretty small selection, 0.4, 0.5, and then standard colors. So how does the Zebra R body compare to the standard Zebra pens that you're used to? Again, it's essentially the same pen. The body is basically the same as the Zebra Clip. So if you use one of them, you know what a Zebra Sarasa R will feel like. Same grip, same front piece. Obviously this one is translucent, this is opaque, but again, feels the same body. That clip is identical, feels the same. It's just this one looks a little bit nicer. Obviously newer looking fonts, this little pill thing there, and then it's it like this pill, it almost looks matte, which looks really classy, but the rest of it is gloss, just like this is gloss. Printing's here, 0.5, 0.4, whatever, same button. And this one even has, let me see if it has those indents. So I guess maybe it doesn't have those indents, but you would have seen those before on like a Zebra Sarasa, like the I think the SE it's called. Some of the other models, or the Dry I think has them. So maybe that's a very, very slight difference. That is the clip. This is the Zebra Sarasa Speedy, which was one of the quick drying models. This was like I think it was an Asian release. I forget what country in Asia, but it was like, they're a little bit hard to find for a while. You can get it now. And again, very, very similar between the two. Now the clips look even closer. See some font changes here, some font changes there, of course. All this stuff is identical. And then the Speedy, yeah, see the Speedy does have those little indent, that little gear or teeth, whatever you want to call it there, and has that little grip thing in the back. So I guess my point in all this is that the Sarasa R has a new ink, but the rest of the stuff we've seen before. And then just for comparison purposes, I wanted to look at the ink. And for comparison, we have the clip, the R, the Sarasa Grand, but the Sarasa Grand uses the same ink, so it's really doesn't really matter so much. And then I threw in, this is a Uniball 1. This is a pigmented pen, so that means it's like color, like water safe ink. But a lot of times pigments in the past were used to make the ink as dark as possible. Now you could do that obviously with dyes as well. So pigment is good because it's water safe or permanent, whereas the dye isn't. But I want to see how this stacked up, which this is a pretty new pen, against the Sarasa R. Get all those pens out of here. And here is the comparison. You could just, pause this if you want to get really close to it. But at top we have the Sarasa R. It's a really nice black. It's really dark and very good saturation. Here next to it is a Sarasa Grand, which is a standard black. Can you tell the difference between those two on this cream colored paper? Like, I think I can over here in the lettering. It's really tough over here. Maybe the top one is a little bit darker, looks almost like Sharpie dark, whereas this one is maybe a little bit more brownish. It's hard to say. And I want to say this Sarasa R is a little bit darker, but it's really hard to tell. If anything, it looks like a more of a pure black color, where this one is maybe a little brown, or maybe a little like olive drab, like a dark, dark green. Maybe just like shifted over a few degrees from that, like, 0, 0, 0, or whatever scale you want to use. So let's move on. Here's the Uniball 1. That's the pigmented black ink from that Uniball pen from this guy right here. This one's definitely lighter. I would say it's lighter than even the standard Sarasa gel. And it's more of a very, very dark gray. Here we have an actual Sharpie S gel. That one's pretty dark. I think it's maybe not as pure black as the Sarasa, but definitely as dark as the Grand. It's a little wider. And I think that's one thing I wanted to bring up here. If you want to have an ink that appears to be very dark, sure, you can go ahead and reinvent a formula with like a really fancy high-end dye and all sorts of different science. But if you go slightly thicker, it appears much, much darker. Obviously, that's not gonna be an option if you're journaling or doing something very exact, but a lot of times you could just brute force this sort of thing by going slightly thicker. Here's the Zebra JK. That's the refill that you would have found in a G750 or a G450 if you look at the new Zebra pens. Again, very dark, very close to the S gel and the Sarasa Grand, and quite close to the R. Here's the Sarasa R in the red. So what's happening now is once we move away from black, which again is inherently very dark, you'll see better pigment, not pigmentation, but better color pop coming from the colors. So the reds, the greens, the purples, the oranges. Now is when that new dye formula can begin to really show what it's capable of. And I think that's where the Sarasa R line is going to shine in the coming years or months, whatever. I was only able to get the red and the black. These things are actually a little bit hard to find right now, but I think the Sarasa R will be best at doing colors. And here is the Speedy, that's just standard Sarasa, and then Sarasa Clip in 0.4. Once you do 0.4 in here, it starts getting a little bit lighter because it is so skinny. And you know what I forgot to do was the Sarasa R in 0.4. So we'll do that here. So now we have Sarasa R 0.4. So now we can see it's definitely a good deal darker than here. You know, this isn't like an exact perfect science. I don't know when I bought that 0.4 millimeter Sarasa Clip. Maybe it's a 2-year-old pen. It's hard to say. Maybe it's 3 years old. Who knows? So are you losing some color density over time? Is it getting lighter over time? That's entirely possible. So it's not apples to apples. But for me, the Sarasa R is newer. And if you're looking for a new gel pen and you like the Zebras, I would say go ahead and start to shift over towards the Sarasa Rs if you could find them. They seem like a solid pen, and they're in no way worse than the standard Sarasa. If anything, you're getting a darker color or a deeper color, a brighter color, whatever you want to call it. So it seems like it's the way to go and a really nice upgrade from Zebra. So I think that covers it. Thanks for watching.